Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Pash On Podcast. Let's get started with your host, Brian Pash.
Hi, this is Brian Pash, and welcome to another podcast interview. On today's show, I am so happy to welcome Andrew Breedlove. He's the sales director for iPacket for an interview you're not going to want to miss because this platform fills a gap that most every dealer hasn't really thought about. Andrew, welcome to the show.
Hey, Brian, I really appreciate it and happy to be here today.
Well, I've been watching your company grow. I know that you'll be part of the educational experience at the Modern Retailing Conference, and your product fits exactly into the themes that we're covering this year because dealers have not truly prioritized budgeting for presentation and tools for consumers to use in their consideration phase when they leave the dealership, needing more time. So let's start from the beginning, Andrew. If you're in an elevator with a dealer principal and they say, hey, what's iPacket do? What are you telling them?
You know, it's kind of funny because it's actually happened, being out in Vegas, we're riding the elevator down to the show and whatnot. And we get it a lot because we sport our iPacket green everywhere we go. And we're kind of, easy to spot, if you will. So I've had it asked a lot, and we're digital presentations at your fingertips. So in store, a presentation tool right to the customer that's right in front of you. Online, a way to kind of educate that shopper that's not really having somebody there to work with them. And over the phone and for internet leads is a way to quickly and easily get that information into a customer's hands. So if you think of like the old school value folders, worry-free folders, evidence manuals that dealerships have built for years in paper format, we digitize that whole process and make it trackable.
Well, the thing I love about it is that there's often not enough information on a VDP or even in a digital retailing experience that gets people kind of over that hump to make a appointment to come into the dealership. We hear this all the time on the phone when we're coaching sales process. Customers interested because the dealer had some kind of cat and mouse game with get e-price, get today's price, get the best price, check on discounts. And, the BDC agent is oftentimes showing him the same price that was listed. There was no e-price. And then it gets, well, can you come in? And the dealer really hasn't answered critical questions or created enough value. How does iPacket technology work in that BDC situation? How do you see this product that's on the dealer's websites, but also shareable through email or messaging? How are some of the best BDC teams using this platform to create value to increase appointments?
Yeah, I love it, right? So you hit the nail on the head. It's often always about price. It's often always about, kind of the product, and it's often always about, when can they come in type thing. Well, if you haven't delivered a message of value to the shopper or set yourself above others, it's very hard for that consumer that you've never really met to be able to trust you, right? And price is only an issue in the absence of value. So what we like to kind of teach our partners to do is when you have that customer on the phone, if they've called in to you, when you have them on the phone, they're going to ask you some important questions right away because what they're interested in is really what they're going to ask to you. And a lot of the times, you tell me if I'm right or wrong about this, but a lot of the times the go-to line is, hey, Brian, you know what? I know that question's really important to you and I want to find out the answer. Can I give you a call back? So you're asking them right away for their phone number to call them back, and you've given them nothing of value outside of what your website shows. So what we like to teach our BDC people that we work with is, hey, when you're on the phone with that customer, have the packet pulled up in front of you, which has all the information inside of it. So have it pulled up in front of you. When they start asking you questions, just go through and start answering them just like you know it, right? Like the back of your hand, right? You know all this information. Answer the questions for them. And then eventually you say, hey, Brian, I want to be honest with you. The reason I'm able to answer all these questions so quickly and efficiently is I have a full history and reconditioning report on this vehicle right in front of me. And while we're on the phone today, I want to share it with you so we can go over it together. Do you have a device handy? Now you're getting their email. Now you're getting their phone number.
Yeah.
Two really important pieces of information because you've given them something of value that they're like, you know what? I do want to see what he has. Now you send it to them. And while you're on the phone with them, you take a verbal conversation and you turn it into a visual presentation where you guys are going back and forth and looking at information together. And you're saying, hey, go check out the service receipts on this. The reason we did, the service work on this car is because we want to make sure this car was road ready and safe for you and your family. I don't want to sell you a car just today. I want to sell you, your family, your friends a car now and into the future. And if we don't do this work right on this vehicle, you're never going to come back to me and have this opportunity. So this is why we show this to you. If you go shop another dealership, Brian, make sure that they show this to you as well. Because if they did the work, they're going to have a receipt just like I did. So when educating them, right, we're going back to the days of educating the shopper versus them calling in and educating us. Now you're taking that presentation and that support and that trust and transparency and raising the bar well above anybody else that they're going to talk to. So it's very easy to set that appointment and gain that trust out of the consumer very quickly.
So, Andrew, let's dive into the actual presentation content. So, you can have the iPacket information associated with a vehicle on a VDP. The BDC can call up that packet on any vehicle and share it. So let's go through this example just one step further. So the customer says, yeah, I'd like to really see everything about this car. And they text or email, they get a link. When the customer opens up that link, what's inside it? If you had to break it up into pieces, obviously photos, mileage, price, and things. What else is in that packet that really fosters great communication and builds value?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So, outside of what you mentioned, we're going to have the original MSRP or window sticker for over 30 different OEMs inside of there, genuine, direct from the manufacturer data. We do not produce any data for window stickers for customer-facing data without it being genuine, direct from the OEM, because that's how you get yourself in trouble, right? By showing them something that's not true and authentic. So that's going to be inside of there. If it's a certified car, we want to hit on the value points of what certified means. So inside of there is going to be the overview of the multi-point inspection that car goes through from manufacturer standpoint or standards, I should say. You're going to have the warranty information to back it up to show the customer that sometimes that warranty is better than the person who bought that car originally brand new. You're going to have the original full year make model PDF brochure on that. You're going to have a vehicle trim walk video by a company called Wheels TV that we partner with. That's going to be inside of there. You're going to have things that are specific to you and the dealership, things that are part of your story, your process, your history that you want the customer to be involved and understand. And then one of the biggest pieces and kind of one of the hidden secrets inside of the dealership is your reconditioning. So the closed repair order on that vehicle is going to be inside of there to educate the shopper that there's more to a car than just the price of the vehicle. So all of that stuff that we put inside of the packet for the consumers is really there to help them understand that outside of the price of the car, our process is what sets us apart. And that's what I want to highlight and show to you.
Andrew, when I think of the current economic environment, floor planning costs are high, used cars are at an all-time high. Consumers are going through a little sticker shot. They're coming off of lease. Maybe they're paying $350, $400 a month for the same vehicle. If they renew it now, it's $550, $600. So there's sticker shock. So they may go into consideration of a used car. And it would seem to me that this platform would almost be standard operating procedure in a modern retailing mindset, because we need all the tools at our fingertips without any manual work, right? Easy for everyone to access, the same playbook to help move these used cars, because, hey, it's not a lay down environment anymore. And we have to get back to the basics of blocking, tackling, building value, building communication, building trust. Why would a dealer not invest in iPacket? That's a question that we need to address.
I agree. And it's one that we have to address every day when we talk to our partners, and our potential partners. Some of them see it as kind of a commodity coming into it. They kind of start to look at us originally for those window stickers. And we take them outside of that and really try to educate them on that customer experience. So you kind of hit the nail on the head when you said, used cars are really the biggest thing right now, with the strikes that are going on, with getting back to, I guess, kind of pre-COVID. I mean, we're not really in the quote unquote normal days of the car business anymore, but we're going back to almost pre-COVID days to where the salesperson actually has to start selling again versus, hey, Brian, I have it in stock. If you want to buy it, it's here. If not, Joe's coming in 10 minutes to buy it type thing. So really getting the dealerships to understand that we have to educate the shoppers and get them to earn our trust and show that transparency. It's a huge buzzword. You hear it all over the business. Consumers want us to be transparent. There was a study, and I can't remember the exact numbers, but I'm wanting to say it was like 73% of dealerships think that they're being transparent to a shopper. There were only 27% of consumers that thought the dealers were being transparent to them. So what are we doing to enhance that customer experience to truly show that, hey, I'm not holding things back from you. I'm putting all my cards out here on the table for you for a reason. I want to earn your trust. I want to sell you a car. I want to make this easy for you. And I'm not, the crooked dealership that consumers unfortunately have dealt with for years. So we're trying to really get back to the days of a consumer trusting us. I mean, they say that a customer, next to going to the dentist, buying a car is one of the most painful things for someone to do. Why? It should be fun.
Well, there are a number of people who are trying to change that perception.
Absolutely.
But, the truth of the matter is that there is always going to be people who resist change, who take advantage of certain short-term conditions. And I'm not pointing fingers. I'm just saying it's just the nature of entrepreneurs. Some are morally guided. Some are guided only by money. But, I was thinking about the dealers who don't have a product like iPacket on their website or have not equipped their BDC or sales professionals with such a rich packet of information, which is built automatically right from the dealer's own DMS data. So here's the question I have for dealers who are listening. And Andrew, I want you to comment on it. When somebody comes into the showroom today, those people are typically capable of or looking to purchase or will purchase relatively soon. But we still see maybe a 50% close rate in the showroom. Let's just say if we had a national average, it's probably less than that. But let's just say 50% of the people who come into the dealership buy, the other 50% walk. Then the question is, what do they walk with? Are they walking with some sloppy scribbled Foursquare sheet with some payment? Or do they have on their phone a rich multimedia summary of the car that they were looking at that they consider? Andrew, am I missing something? There's no way that a dealer should let someone out of the showroom without an iPacket kit on 1, 2, or even 3 cars that they were looking at, because it allows them to follow up with almost a playbook discussion after they leave. Am I tracking right?
You're 100% right, right? We ask that question all the time. If I walk in your dealership today and I'm not leaving the dealership with a car after talking to your salesperson, what am I leaving with? And you said it. I'm leaving with maybe a deal sheet, hopefully not a Foursquare anymore, but a deal sheet with numbers written on it. And a lot of the times the salesperson's always going to hand out that paper business card. but you can't track paper. And I'll explain that in a minute. But even if you do get all that information to your shopper, even if I printed everything off that we discussed that goes inside of a packet, it's important information, but you can't track paper. So even if I do hand it to you and you leave my dealership, I'm never going to know A, when you're looking at it, or B, what's most important to you, Brian, right? So when you now let them leave with a packet, not only did you give them your digital business card, because it's a digital business card for that salesperson right away. So top right-hand corner, customer knows exactly who the salesperson is, what dealership they're at, and how to contact them. So we marry not only that salesperson, but we marry the shopper with them right away. I'm also, as a salesperson, going to know each and every time my customer opens that packet, not just reading an email, not just reading a text message. There are a lot of companies, and again, I'm not pointing fingers here like you said, but there are a lot of companies, Brian, that will celebrate that a customer opened your email or text message. Those get clicked on accidentally all the time and deleted. Never hear from them again. We only alert a salesperson and get them excited when a customer clicks inside of the packet in the email or text. That's when you want to know that your shopper is looking at your information. That is the proper time to follow up with them. But we take it a step further. All that information inside of the packet, when you and I look at anything, we have our ideas of what matters most to us to make our buying decision, correct?
Right.
So not only do we tell the salesperson when the customer opens that packet, but we show them specifically where they spend their time and engagement. So now that reluctancy that salespeople have of following up with customers, they don't have it anymore, because I know what's most important to you, where questions, where comments, where objections even may come from, because what you're looking at in that packet that I send you home with, I'm going to know each and every time you open it and where your mind and focus is. So when I go to follow up with you, Brian, if you spent 4 minutes on the Carfax, I'm going to pop open that Carfax, look at it, make sure that I know, does it have an accident on it? Was it locally owned? Has it been serviced at my dealership? Was it a one owner? I want to know all that information before I call you, maybe even have it pulled up in front of my face. That way I'm ready to answer questions, because you're probably going to ask me something about that if you spent 4 minutes in that document itself. So we equip the salesperson with all the information needed for follow-up. So now, instead of just walking out with a deal sheet that traditionally they'll take that down the road and just say, hey, I shopped down at ABC Motors. Can you beat the price on this car? If you can, I'll buy it today. Happened all the time when I was in retail. People
Right.
walked in with deal sheets. If they walked in and the only thing they thought about was price, I knew I was selling a car that day. But man, if they walked in and they showed me a packet of information and made me compete on the integrity of the dealership they just left, I had an uphill battle to fight right away. And that's what we need to start equipping our consumers with. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, I just think that, car buying has gotten a little bit more complicated. Not only the cost of car ownership has gone up. I mean, if I was buying a used car and someone showed me a pack of information of all the reconditioning work that was done on the car with actual receipts, I'd feel so much more comfortable than, buying a car from a fully transparent transaction versus buying a car off a lot where they had no service history.
Right.
I also was very interested to know how does iPacket get priced or bundled? You know what I mean? Like is it on how many cars the dealers have in inventory? Because one of the questions, it seems more and more dealer groups, they do shared inventory, right?
Right.
So the dealer may have 100 cars on the lot, but there's 4 stores in the area, so they show all 400 cars. How do you work with dealer groups that do kind of like shared inventory? Because what I'm trying to do is build the case that this is the tool you need for establishing value, for differentiating your dealership from others, to increase your B-backs and closing more sales. But, dealers in today's economic environment are paying higher floor planning costs. They're more cost sensitive. So how do you work with, say, obviously a single point store or a dealer group? There has to be some slight differences.
Yeah, and there are, right? So we come from the one low price background. So the dealer, we were invented by a dealer group, Brian. I'm not sure if you knew that or not, but
No, I didn't.
we're not a tech company that just came into automotive. We've been in business since 2012, and we spanned out of the process that people have used for years, which are the paper packets. We spanned out of that and turned into a digital product for that store. They went out to a 20 group and pitched the idea, just like you hear all the time. And everybody in the room raised their hand at that point and said, we'd love a product like that. So that's how we became a company, back in 2012, by chance, not by choice, if you will, right? It's just something that worked really great inside of the dealer group that invented us. And so we come from the one low price background. So we like to think of that when we talk to our partners as well. So we price off of per roof, and then their average pre-owned inventory they keep in stock. New cars, if they want it, because we build these for new cars too, is just a flat rate. When we look at like larger dealer groups, once they get to a certain threshold, and forgive me for not knowing what that is off the top of my head, it comes more so from our executive side when they look at it. But we're obviously going to look at a larger dealer group like a fleet deal. So even if you're at a one price store, if you come in and you're wanting to buy 12 cars for your company, there's probably going to be a slight price break because you're
Of
buying in
course.
volume, just buying one, right? But we want to treat everybody fairly. I mean, there's no reason that I should charge, Joe down the street that has, 30 cars on his lot, and then John down the street that's a used car only, no franchise back store, 30 cars, a different price.
Right.
So we want to treat everybody fairly. And what a lot of people kind of find out with us too is very interesting. And you don't hear this often. This is how you really know we come from the car business and that we're car people. We have never went back and raised anybody's price for them growing their inventory or our product improving, Brian.
That is news to the dealer's ears. That's why I wanted to have you on the podcast.
Yes.
So many people have commented about the integrity of your company. That's why I asked a specific question on how you price your products. People have said you've been fair, you've been a good partner for them. And that's why I think that your product is perfectly aligned with the theme for the Modern Retailing Conference. All the interviews that we're having leading up to the Modern Retailing Conference, which is November 12th, 13th, and 14th in Palm Beach, Florida, are from the people who are transforming automotive retail, improving the customer experience, and as we say, elevating the customer experience to help dealers sell more cars in a digital age. Andrew, if a dealer wanted to get a demo of the platform, see what these visual presentation materials look like for a particular VIN, what's the best website for them to go to?
Yeah, very easy. iPacket.us.
Well, look at that. Come on, no com for you. You're going to .us.
That's right.
Absolutely. Right. That's important for our listeners to remember. Each year at the Modern Retailing Conference, we take on the topics that other conferences are not talking about. We're looking into the future. We're pushing the industry forward. And Andrew, thank you for supporting dealer education. If this is the first time you're listening to a podcast, you should know that there are dozens of interviews with automotive technology leaders, innovators, dealer leaders that are contributing their knowledge and wisdom to elevate automotive retailing, all in my podcast. So just search for the Brian Pass podcast wherever you listen. Andrew, we are just weeks away from beautiful Palm Beach at the O Hotel. Are you ready to talk to dealers at the show?
I'm excited. Honestly, I didn't know that's how it was pronounced. So thank you for educating me on that one.
Yeah, it's it's a French, the O, the water, the water of life. Yeah, it's going to be a great show. People love that hotel, and only dealer and OEM tickets are left available for sale. So if you haven't bought your ticket, go to modernretailingconference.com, get those tickets, book your rooms. It sells out every year, so don't be late. I want to thank Andrew and everyone who's listening. Remember that we can't sell cars like we did in 1993, we need to be elevating the customer experience, building trust, differentiating our dealership for others, and iPacket is a partner in achieving that great success. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you next time on another exciting podcast interview.